All right, let's get into our first topic then, shall we? And do we really need weather warnings? That's what we're asking first off, so get your calls in for this one now. The Met Office has issued a yellow health alert as the mercury is set to soar to 30 degrees. Yellow health warnings have been put in place for most of southern and eastern England from 5 p.m. on Friday, so today, until 11 p.m. on Saturday. Oh, that's tomorrow, sorry. Saturday, I'm ahead of myself. And so-called tropical nights could be on the cards as well. That's where temperatures don't drop below 20 degrees, posing a risk to the elderly and the vulnerable. But do we actually need warnings that the summer is going to be hot? Let's actually, before we chat to the panel, let's take a look exactly what the different warnings mean. So first up, we've got a yellow warning. Now this involves a low-level impact, minor travel disruptions potentially, but many of us can actually just continue on with our daily routine. It starts to get a little bit more serious when we get to the amber warnings. Possible travel delays, well, we see them quite regularly anyway. Potential risk to life, consider changing plans. And then you get the red warning. Now this means dangerous weather is expected, substantial travel disruptions, likely risk to life, avoid travel and stay safe. So that's when things really have to start to change. So what do we think? We're seeing images now of Brighton. This is in 2022 when there was one of these red weather warnings. I remember this was July. I remember this very well because I was in a maternity unit giving birth to my son and it was excruciatingly hot. So, Mike, do we need these weather warnings?
I think it's absolutely patronising. Honest to God, I do. If you can't work out how you're going to respond to the changing weather, you shouldn't really be on planet Earth because we've had to live with it for millions of years, literally, OK? Now, I know when the weather's changing because I hate hot weather. You know, you won't believe it. When I was a kid, I had a huge flock of ginger hair and freckles up and down my arms, and my mum couldn't let me go on the beach unless I was fully covered, you know what I mean? So I hate the sun, and I'm aware instinctively if it goes up by 1/10 of a degree in temperature, and then I make all my own arrangements to make sure I stay in when the sun is boiling. I put clothes on all over me. I put a hat on, protect myself from the sun. And even though I hardly know how to use my mobile phone, the one thing I've learned is Surrey weather. Bing! I get a week of temperatures and sun and rain and all that, and that's how I work out the weather.
Well, it's interesting, but it's coming from the perspective of someone that doesn't particularly like the sun. I do wonder whether sometimes these warnings just alert us a little bit to actually, OK, lovely, it's going to be nice and sunny, but actually there are some dangers involved as well, and getting that sun protection on is important.
Look, what I would say about that is, Mike, you're very aware of weather and how it affects you.
Yes.
But not everyone is. And honestly, anything that brings awareness to your health, to danger, to your lifestyle has got to be helpful. When you think that in the last couple of years, during heat excesses and cold excesses, we've had 5,000 people die from heat and cold in this country. By 2050, they're saying that's going to double. Surely we should start future-proofing ourselves. There are some countries out there, you're going to say, well, how do they deal with it? There are 30 degrees all year round. But
or
guess
40
what?
degrees.
Yeah, but they future-proof themselves. They have homes which have temperature controlled. And remember, we talk about vulnerable people and old people and pets. Actually, all of us know elderly people, children, pets, people with disabilities. Hold on, let me finish. We all know those people. So the vulnerable population isn't a minority. It's most people. And this can have long-term impact or short-term. So short-term, for me, for example, it's silly, but if I hear there's a heat wave coming, I take all the plants off my windowsill because I don't want them to die. I might also take the washing off the line if it's going to rain, right?
But that's not critical to your life.
It's not. But what about the people who will go outside and bake themselves? And today they're in A&E with heat stroke, but in future decades they're in A&E with cancer.
Well, to be honest, they're a bit silly if they're not aware of what's going on around them. Now, look, in some countries in this world, it's 30 degrees all the time. So they live their lives according to that very hot weather. In some places, like Antarctica or the Falkland Islands, it's very cold all the time. The problem with this country is it goes up and down like that. And you can't be issuing weather warnings every 3 days. Oh, it's hot, and now it's cold, now it's raining. One of the silliest, and this illustrates the way I think we're all patronised, is when you get on the tube train and a recorded voice says, if you feel thirsty, drink water. I mean, you know, it's so ludicrous.
I think it's telling you to stay hydrated.
I've never seen anybody pass out on a tube train going 3 stops from here to here. I mean, it's so patronising.
I don't find it patronising. I just find it helpful. It reminds me that when I'm on the tube, someone's looking out for me and going, actually, it is really hot right now. Maybe I should grab some water in a bit.
Because you can. I can forget to drink water quite regularly, so I do, even if my husband says it, find it quite helpful. Yeah. But then that's just me. Let's go to the calls. Nathan from Cheshire. Do you think these warnings are particularly helpful, your yellow, amber, red warnings?
To be honest, not really.
No? It doesn't make you change your day at all, your schedule?
Well, I don't drive, so I'm not bothered about the traffic. And it's patronising, as your panel has said.
Oh, you think it's patronising? OK, you don't drive, fair enough, but actually travel disruptions don't just include cars. We're talking about trains and buses here, particularly trains. When it comes to weather, they are affected. It could be the wrong kind of rain and the train will stop. Surely you want to keep across that and think, oh, maybe I'll not book to see that person that day because actually it looks like the travel might be a bit of an issue.
Well, that's an engineering issue. They haven't sorted out how to make lines run in the winter or the summer.
Yes.
But Nathan, it's not always just about transport, is it? What about people who live in the parts of the country where there might be flooding or they might need to preempt something? I've got friends who live near a river, and every time they know it's going to be flooding and there's torrential rain, they literally have to move out for a couple of days because they can't. But they need the heads up that there's going to be torrential rain. They need to make plans days ahead.
They should have flood defences. This is whole part of living near a river or living near a floodplain. That's why they build houses on the floodplain with gates and all that.
You still need to prepare, don't you?
Well,
you might need to go down to the supermarket, get the groceries in.
But it's not the job of the government to have a department saying warn people in different parts of the country what's going on.
I tell you who it actually might be very helpful for, and that is institutions that are looking after vulnerable people. So nurseries, for example, looking after children. You've got retirement homes looking after older people. They might want to know what the weather's doing and how severe it is to plan their schedule for the day. If there is an hour that they're going to be outside, maybe they're going to make that hour earlier on in the day or in the evening. Also, people with animals and dogs or animals that live outside, they're going to have to bring them in. They're not going to check the weather every day. So when it's particularly severe or there's a yellow, maybe it is right that the government just gives you a sign.
Even the taxi man, when I spoke to the taxi on the way here, he was telling me that he likes to know what the weather reports are all the time because if it's extremely hot or cold, he gets more work, so he knows when to go out. No, but it might be economical. It's not everything is about danger or health. It could be lifestyle.
In this country, we're obsessed with weather, and that's why on the hour, on every TV channel in this country, including Channel 5, you get the weather report. Now, what more do you need? If you've been updated every hour, it's going to rain.
Not everybody is at home watching telly all day.
They've got phones in their pocket and do what I do. Check on the temperature.
On that phone, it does tell you when there's going to be a weather warning as well if you're checking certain sites. 0207 862 2222 is the number to get in touch. Do you think weather warnings are necessary in this country when we don't potentially have the extremes of weather that other countries have, where it is crucially important that they get that message out? In fact, talking of messages, we've got a few online. Helen on Twitter says, we don't need warnings, just gentle reminder about sensible precautions like sun cream and hydration. Well, Mike doesn't like them either, Helen.
You should know that. You should know that already.
Drink water, put sun protection on. Carol on Facebook says, I don't believe people take any notice of these warnings as they're happening on a daily basis now. When something comes along there that actually warrants a warning, people will ignore that too. So maybe they're happening too frequently. I have to say the yellow warnings for rain in Scotland are so frequent that I don't think a lot of people pay much attention to that. Simon from the West Midlands, how's the weather where you are at the moment?
It's quite lovely, to be honest. It's about 24 degrees. It's really, really nice, but I think the yellow warning completely unnecessary.
Have you got suntan lotion on today, Simon?
I haven't, no. But
so maybe not unnecessary?
I think suntan lotion, so if I go out, then probably, but low UV. But my thing is, it's hot. I know it's hot because I can feel it's hot. The yellow warning, I don't fully understand it. So, OK, yellow warning, I'm going to go and put my shorts in the wash and I'm going to go and buy fans.
OK, Simon, it might not be for you, but for example, if you had a dog, for example, and you walked that dog normally at about 11 o'clock, that would be quite late to walk a dog, but let's say you had a midday walk, you might actually realise, oh, it's going to be too hot even by 10 o'clock tomorrow, because the weather really does affect them. You'll have to wake up a little bit earlier, change your schedule somewhat so that you can give your dog a good bit of exercise and a reasonable temperature before the day gets too hot and they'll have to be in the shade all day. It's for those sorts of individuals that are looking after other people, other animals, caring for things that might need to know when there is a change in weather.
I think the sun cream thing, which Simon mentioned, is a complete con-trick. People don't need to be told to put sun cream on to go to the shops and do their shopping on a sunny day. We haven't done it for centuries. Why are we doing it now?
Well, have you seen the amount of people in A&E and in cancer wards because they had that attitude?
I have a Panama hat which I wear to keep the sun off my face.
But you were a ginger kid, so you were educated about that from when you were a kid,
I was.
right?
I was a very
but many people aren't, were you?
Yeah.
But many people aren't. And some people do need reminding, genuinely.
Well, I think it's... You see, again, if you take away the common sense factor and let everybody think, don't worry, we'll do your thinking for you so you don't have to think for yourself, we'll all become such a nanny state. We'll wait every morning for the government to tell us what we can and cannot do.
What we will definitely not do in this show is remind everyone that it's going to be sunny the next couple of days. Probably a good idea to put some sun protection on, but we wouldn't warn you to do that, so we'll leave that part.
But seriously, do people generally, do you know anybody who says, right, I'm going down to the shops now, or I'm going to walk down to my friend's house, I'll put some sun cream on
No, but
first.
do you know what I do see? The minute we get loads of sun out there, parks are full of people who are completely topless, bottomless, you name it, and they're frying, and they're purple by the end of the day.
And beaches, I agree.
Well, that's dangerous. By 2050...
Of course it is, but they should have some common sense to be able to look after themselves.
The Medical Association says that by 2050, about 7,000 people a year in this country will die of heat-related causes. Well, don't you think then we need warnings and awareness?
Look, lots of things contribute to bad health in this country, and it's usually the individual behaviour of the person concerned. And you can't counter for every piece of daft behaviour from a human being.
OK, Mike says put a hat on.